सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयम् करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादम् शङ्करम् लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करम् शङ्कराचार्यम् केशवम् बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभाजिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुकारस्पन्धकारो वै गुकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We need some clips, some more clips, couple of them more later. Om Īśāvāsyam ityādayah mantraha कर्मसु अभिनियुक्ताः तेषाम् अकर्मशेषस्य आत्मनः याथात्म्यप्रकाशकत्वात् याथात्म्यं च आत्मनः शुद्धत्व अपापविद्धत्व एकत्व नित्यत्व अशरीरत्व सर्वगतत्वादि वक्ष्यमाणम्। Īśāvāsyam, the mantras, the set of mantras, the Upanishad, beginning with Īśāvāsyam, these are not applied, utilized in karma, even though this Upanishad occurs in the section Kanda, the section dealing with karma, but this does not talk about karma. This is not about karma. This is not part of any ritual, any Vaidika karma, Veda ritual karma. It is not. Why so? Because Tesham, these mantras talk about, they reveal Prakashakatva, they reveal, they illumine. What do they light up? What do they talk about? Yathatmya, the true nature. Whose true nature? Atmanaha, of the Atma, of the self. The truth of the self, that is Atma, the true nature of Atma. Atma being ever free, ever full, the very nature of fulfillment, happiness. This is Atmana Yathatmyam. And further, this Atma is different, is free from the notion of, free from the Upadhi, free from Kartrutva, Bhoktrutva, Samsaritva, free from doership, enjoyership. I do this, I experience this, then I am happy, I am sad, etc. Atma is ever free from that. That he points out. Since Atma is free from Kartrutva, doership, Bhoktrutva, enjoyership, and then Sukhi, Dukhi, happy, sad, etc. Ever free. Therefore, it is not Karta. Karta is the Adhikari, the person who performs actions. Whereas Atma is not a Karta. Therefore, Atma is not a Karma Shesha. Shesha, connected. No, not connected to any karma, not part of any karma, not involved in any karma. You can't just, like even this, we can't confine Akasha. We can't confine, we can't divide Akasha. Similarly, Atma is not confined to, is not limited to, not taken to any karma, part of any karma. Akarma Sheshasya Atmanaha is Akarma Sheshasya. Akarma Shesha is a Visheshanam, a description of Atma. This Visheshanam describes why it is not part of karma. Why Atma is not part of any karma, any ritual, etc., action, etc. Because it is Akarma Shesha. Okay? So this Visheshanam, the description of Atma itself gives a reason why it is not, why the mantras are not part of any karma, because they talk about Atma. What is Atma? Atma is not part of any karma. Akarma Sheshaha Atma. So this Visheshanam, this quality, this description contains the Hetu, the reason why they are not used in karma. Mantras are not in karma because Atma is Akarma Shesha. This Visheshanam is called Hetu Garbhita Visheshanam. The Hetu, the reason, is contained in the Visheshana, the description itself. So description itself gives the reason, gives out the reason why Atma, right, is not part of any karma, because Atma is Akarma Shesha, na Karma Shesha. That is pointed out. Since Atma itself is not part of any karma, so the mantras talk about the Atma true nature only. Therefore, these mantras are not part of any karma. Alright. You say that Atmana Yathatmya Prakashakatvad, the true nature, revealing the true nature, you say. What is the true nature of Atma, real nature of Atma? That is said here. Yathatmyam cha. The true nature of Atma is, Atmanaha of the Atma is, what is it there? Shuddhatva. The innately pure, naturally pure, innate. Swabhavataha shuddham, right? Always pure, innate. By its very nature it is pure. Like Akasha. Akasha cannot be made impure. Air, etc. Yes, air we pollute air, we pollute water, we pollute the earth. Yes, that is there. But not Akasha. So, innately pure, naturally pure, Shuddhatva, that is the Atma Swarupa. And not only that, Apapa Viddhatva. Viddha is pierced by, right? Made impure, pierced by impurity. That is Papa Viddha. Viddha is pierced by, right? Meaning made impure, Papa Viddha. Atma cannot be made impure, that is na Papa Viddha. It cannot be made impure by any Papa, any act or any result. Atma is not made impure, apapavidya. So Shuddhatva explains naturally pure, and then the apapaviddatva explains it cannot be made impure also. Itself pure always, nor it can be made impure by something else. Apapaviddatva. And then ekatva, Atma is one and only one. There is no second Ishvara, there is no second God, no second Atma is there. What about us? We are many, no? We are many in terms of Upadhi. In the reference of, in the light of Upadhi, Jivas are many, but in the light of truth, there is only one Atma. Like even look at the Ghata, look at the pot, then there are many pots. But you look from the standpoint of clay, there is only one clay. There is not many clays. Okay? So there are many waves, but only one water. And there are many reflections, but there is only one object reflecting in the mirrors. So reflections are many, but the object is one. And waves are many, water is one. Parts are many, but clay alone is one. And that alone is the truth. So too, Atma appears to be many because of Upadhi, body, mind, etc. But itself, it is one and only one. Ekameva advitiyam, the secondless, non-dual Atma. Therefore he points out Ekatva. And then Nityatva. It is always changeless, it is free from all changes. Nityatva. Okay. And it does not come and go. Atma is not something which comes and goes, like health, etc. come and go. But Atma Swarupa doesn't come and go. Even the notion of I am a sufferer, I am happy, etc. This also comes and goes. But I am, this is the invariable, the ever present, the changeless, Nityatva. This is the nature of Atma. Then Ashariratva, not limited by body, mind, etc. Sharira refers to all the three Sharira, the gross body, subtle body and the causal body. Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Sharira. Atma is free from the limitations of these. We always remember that these are all, they come about because of Atma Swarupa, come into existence, and they are alive because of Atma, but then Atma is free from that. I am free from all these, the limitations. Ashariratva. And then Sarvagatatva, all pervasive. Right? It is there as the truth of everything, therefore it is all pervasive. And such as these, Adi, Sarvagatva, Gatatva Adi, such as these is the nature of Atma. Where do you find these descriptions? Shuddhatva, Apapaviddatva, etc. Bhashyakara says, Vaksyamanam. What is going to be pointed out? What is going to be said? Vaksyamanam. It will be said. The Atma Swarupa will be said later. In the mantra number 8th mantra, we see this. Shuddham Apapavidvam, etc. We see. That is Vaksyamanam. It's going to be said in the 8th mantra. Yathatmyam Vaksyamanam. The true nature of Atma is going to be pointed out. Okay. Alright. So what? These mantras talk about Atma Swarupa. So what? That he says, Bhashyakara continues, Taccha Karmana Viruddhyeta Iti Yuktaha Eva Yesham Karmasu Aviniyogaha. Taccha. What is Tat? Tat Atma Yathatmyam. The true nature of Atma, the word Cha in the sense of Tu. Tattu, Atma Swarupam Tu. Atma Yathatmyam tu. Whereas that Atma Yathatmya, the true nature of Atma, oneself, is contrary to, opposed to, viruddhyata, against, it is against what? The karma, against kartrutva. Karmana viruddhyata. This is opposed to the conditions required for karma to be there. Karmana saha, saha tritya. Karmana saha viruddhyata. This is opposed to. Karma presupposes karta, whereas Atma is akarta. Right? Karma means, action means there must be actorhood, doership must be there. But Atma is akarta. Then karma driven by karta, and karta is driven by bhokta, the enjoyer. Atma is abhokta, free from enjoyerhood also. No kartrutva, no bhoktrutva, no doerhood, no enjoyerhood for Atma. And karta means unfulfillment, wanting, smallness, dukkhi. These are all karta implies always, karma implies always. Whereas Atma is nitya, shuddha, and then ever free, ever full. It is the very true nature, truth of all happiness. It is happiness per se. Therefore, it's all opposed to the karta, karma, all that. So, viruddhyata. How can such thing, the true nature of Atma, which is totally contrary to the total lakshana, the total description, very definition of Atma is different from karta and therefore karma, that cannot go along with it. Okay? You don't, suppose you want to have a night watchman, night vigil, okay, somebody to keep night vigil, and you don't employ, Kumbhakarna, or Kumbhakarna comes in Ramayana, sleeps all the time. Half the time, half the year, 6 months or something, will be just asleep. Like some of the animals which live in the polar regions, no? They go into hibernation. Okay? 6 months, they just have to hibernate. Because they can't survive in the chillness, etc. So that is nature. Here, you can't employ such a person for watchmanship. Akarta, Atma is not part of the non-doer Atma, doership, where there is no doership, cannot be part of karma, viruddhyeta, totally contrary against this. Iti, and therefore, the word iti means reason. Therefore, and because of this, why? What is this? Because karmana viruddhyeta, Atma is not karta, the akarta. Therefore, yuktaha eva, it's very appropriate only, yuktaha, appropriate only, yuktaha eva, it's very appropriate only. What is appropriate? Yesham, of these mantras, karmasu aviniyogaha, that these mantras are not employed in karma, is not part of any karma, is very appropriate. Why? Because the Atma Swarupa is against the karma. Therefore, these are not used in karma. Karmasu aviniyoga. Okay. That he explains further. Na hi evam lakshanam atmanaha yathatmyam utpadyam vikaryam samskaryam apyam samskaryam kartru bhoktru rupam va yena karma seshata syat. Na he indeed evam lakshanam Atmana Yathatmyam. The true nature of Atma, which is this way, Evam Lakshanam, in this way. This is the very nature of Atma, Evam Lakshanam. What is the Evam Lakshanam? Shuddham, Shuddhatva, Apapavitatva, etc. What Bhashyakara pointed out. Shuddhatva, Apapavitatva, Ekatva, Nityatva, Ashariratva, Sarvagatva, etc. This is the nature of Atma. This is the Atmanaha Yathatmyam. And this is what is not Utpadyam, not brought about into being, existence at some point of time. Does not come into existence. Is not brought into existence. Atma is not made Nitya, Shuddha, etc. That is not Utpadyam. What was not there earlier, now this is produced. That is Utpadyam. That which can be created newly, anew. Atma Swarupa is not something which is created only. Hairstyle, yes, created. Hairstyle. Yesterday the hair was there, today the hair is not there. That's all changing. It's all there. Utpadyam. So we sow seed in the field, we sow, and then the plant comes into being, and then fruit and flowers, etc. come into being. That was not there earlier. Now it is produced anew, newly created. Atma Swarupa, on the other hand, the true nature of ourselves is not something which is brought into existence newly. Nor it is vikaryam, not is it modified, not it can be, any change can be performed. Nor there is no transformation, no change, no modification. Vikaryam. Like, we make out of things, we take few things and then we make a new thing, like a table, we make something new which is not there, and then vikarya, change is there. Right. Certain rituals, like in Soma, Yaga, etc. The creeper, Soma creeper, the Lata, Soma Lata, the creeper, the plant, is taken and then it is pounded and then the juice is extracted, etc. That's all. Vikara is there, change is there, transformation is there. And Soma is Vikaryam, that is used in karma, whereas Atma is not Vikarya. Atma Swarupam is not Vikaryam. Alright. Apyam, something which is reached, gotten, achieved. Something which is already there, it is not produced, there is no change, but you don't have it, you don't get it, you don't have it now, then you get it later. That is apyam, gotten, reached, achieved, accomplished, etc. It is already there, it's not utpadyam, nor there is any change with reference to something, but you reach. Suppose there is a chair at some distance, no? And then I go and reach and get the chair. That is apyam. The chair is already there. It is not utpadyam now with reference to my getting it. It is not utpadyam, nor is there any change in it, but it is apyam. I have to go and get it. I have to reach and get it. So that is apyam. And then the karma, phala, swarga, etc. is said to be achieved, accomplished, gotten later on. Heaven, etc. The person, the doer, goes to swarga, etc. That is apyam. Atma is not apyam, it is nitya siddha, ever accomplished, because it is me. It is me. It is not mine, right? Something that is mine may be utpadya, apya, vikarya, etc. But it is not mine, it is me. It is ever accomplished and therefore not apyam. Nor it is samskaryam, purification, etc. Right? Something which is impure, made pure. Like our body becomes impure, so we make it pure. Take bath, etc. That is pure. Manaha, mind also becomes impure. We make it pure by shamadama, etc. Practicing the values, taking to character and all that, values, we bring about change in the mind. And then with reference to karma, in the Vedika rituals, Veda rituals, there are samskara is there. You sprinkle, you say some mantras and then sanctify the water. In a vessel we take the water and then we chant certain mantras and then Gange cha, Yamune chaiva, etc. we say, and then we sanctify the water. Sanctification is not physical here, but in terms of what we invoke in it. We see sanctity in it. That is, sanctification is there. And with that sanctified water, Samskrita water, they sprinkle all the other material also, right? The flowers and fruit, etc. All that they sprinkle. They sprinkle on themselves. This you can see in all the puja and all you can see in the beginning. They do all that. Keep the water and then cover it and then say something, put flower, etc. And then that is samskara for the water. So we do samskara for the purification for the objects. And for the jiva also there are samskaras are there. There are so many samskaras are there for the jiva. So like even when the child is born, there is a naming ceremony. A naming ceremony, a ritual is there. Formally, ritually, the person is given the baby is given a name. So first the fellow is addressed, the baby is told, you are Atma, it is told. And then, for the sake of transaction, we give you a name, Devadatta, we give you a name, Devadatta Sharma, we give you a name for the sake of transaction. So it's a naming ceremony, a samskara for the jiva. And then, ritually, the education begins, ritually there's a beginning of the education. Even though the child learns from the parents and others, even before the formal education starts, but then when the formal education starts at the age of 6 or 7 in those days, after the Upanayana and the formal education started. So that's a samskara. Upanayana samskara is there. So then the formal education starts. And then marriage, when the person comes of age, marriage is a samskara. It's a purification. Ceremony is there. Whereby the person takes to a life of roles, responsibilities, right? Mutual care, mutual love, mutual commitment, right? In marriage, that's a commitment. This person is committed to, expresses, I am committed to, I have commitment to your happiness, right? I am committed to my happiness already there. But then now we are entering into married life of marriage. There is mutual care, so I am committed to your happiness. And that similarly the other person, the wife or the husband also, they reciprocate. I am committed to your happiness, etc. So I will be with you. All this is all a very profound ritual it is. A samskara it is. So and then the person continues as a married person, as a married couple, they perform a lot of roles, responsibilities individually and together. They do a lot of carry out their responsibilities to themselves, to the family, to the society, to the world, right? There are so many responsibilities. The Panchamaha Yajna, right? The fivefold Yajnas, all these they perform and grow. In the process, they grow and they grow, help the others growth also. These are samskara. Lifelong, they continue to grow together. That is the marriage, etc. This is all samskara. And to the dravya, the material used in yaga also, there is samskara is there. In the ritual, the samskara is a very important thing. Right? Everything has to be purified. You say a mantra and then say a mantra, taking something, you take say the mantra. And then letting go, leaving something aside, there is a mantra. You dispose of something, saying a mantra, you dispose. Even the disposal, right? Even the disposal is done properly, right? The mantra, there is a disposal also. It's not like you just tenko, right? You just throw it away, discard it. No. Disposal, it is not throwing away, it is a disposal. Vidhivat, when there is there. Vidivat, everything is taken properly, everything is taken, and leaving it also, dropping everything also, vidivat. Right? Vidivat grahanam, vidivat tyagaha. That is there. All samskara. Whereas Atma, for the jiva, there is lot of samskara necessary. Right? Every karma may bring about some purity, that is samskara for the Īśāvāsya, for the jiva, we can say, or the mind, we can say. Whereas for Atma, there is no samskara necessary. Why not necessary? Because it is nitya, shuddha, ever pure. Therefore, it is not samskaryam. And these are the results of karma, utpadyam. These are the types of results of karma, utpadyam, vikaryam, apyam, samskaryam. These four are the types of results of karma. Whereas Atma is free from such utpadya, etc. And therefore, Atma is not part of any karma. Not only utpadyam, samskaryam, etc. Kartru bhoktru rupam va atmanaha na. That word na is there in the beginning, nahi evam lakshanam. That na, we take it along with na utpadyam, na vikaryam, na apyam, na samskaryam, and also na kartru bhoktru rupam. Rupa, it's not in the form of karta bhokta. Va, the word va indicates and, okay? Kartru bhoktru rupam cha. It is neither, it is not kartru bhoktru also. Yena, due to which, if it is there, if kartru bhoktru etc. is there, yena, by which karma seshata syat, there will be the seshata, being connected to, being part of karma would be there. If Atma is karta, then Atma will be karma sesha, related to, pertinent to, right, karma alone. Part of karma. If Atma were a karta, then Atma will definitely be a karma sesha, part of karma. As the karta, as a very doer, Atma would become the karta, part of karma. But Atma is not kartru, nor bhoktru, not enjoyer, not doer, and therefore karma seshata, which would be there if Atma were kartru bhoktru, that is not there, and therefore Atma is not karma sesha. Alright. And therefore, these mantras are not meant for karma. The Upanishad mantras, these mantras are not meant for any karma. Alright. Not only this Upanishad, in fact, the truth of this is the same with every Upanishad. No Upanishad where the Atma, true nature of Atma is being unfolded, none of this is part of karma. And not only that, every Upanishad talks about only this. Every Vedanta text talks about only Atma, Swarupa, only the true nature of you, true nature of I, only what am I, that only they talk about. There is in one voice, right? In one voice, as one commitment, as one focus, as one final teaching, one vision, there is oneness. There is no contradiction among the Upanishads in their tatparya, in what they reveal, in their vision. They are one voice. This is something very, very unique, very special, very unique. All Upanishads talk about only one thing. You are the true you are the subject matter. Your true nature is being unfolded, revealed. So, every Upanishad talks about only this. And not only Upanishad, all Vedanta Prakarana also, all the Prasthanas talk about only this. Bhashyakara points out this. Sarvasam Upanishadam Atmayathatmya Nirupanena eva Upakshayat. Because of Upakshaya, They conclude. Upakshaya is come to an end, meaning they conclude. Of all this, the conclusion. Upakshaya, the conclusion or the concluding. What is the conclusion of all the Upanishad? What is the conclusion means? What is the final teaching? This is the final teaching. This is the core of all the teaching. The very essence of all the teaching of Upanishad. Upakshaya. What is it that? Atma Yathatmya Nirupana. Establishing in the person's mind, right? In the listener's, in the seeker's mind, this is established. Nirupana, ascertained, established. What is established? Atma Yathatmya, the true nature of Atma, the self. And which one do this Atma Yathatmya Nirupana? Which one have this conclusion, the final teaching of all this Atma Yathatmya? Sarvasam Upanishadam, of all Upanishads, without any exception. Of course, there are Upanishads which do not talk about Atma Yathatmya. And there are some, even among the 108, and then there are more also. You see some Upanishads. They talk about how to make Bhasma, how to apply Bhasma. That's all they talk about. How to apply how to make sacred ashes, how to apply this, etc. Bhasma dharana, etc. is all there. That's all karma anga, upasana anga. Certain Upanishads are given to committed to upasana para, commitment to meditation on Ishvara alone. And then there's something about certain other things like japa, some are meant for japa, like even Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Kali Santarana Upanishad talks about japa of this mantra, Maha Mantra. They say Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. That gives only the mantra japa it talks about. Of course, the mantra, the word Hara, Krishna, etc. will lead to Atma Swarupa ultimately. But then that Upanishad that does not talk about that. We have to take other Upanishad to understand the meaning of Hari, etc., Hara, etc., we have to understand. So, those Upanishad Bhashyakara does not mention those Upanishads here. But other Vedanta Upanishadam, Sarvasam Upanishadam, of all the Upanishads, the conclusion is establishing the true nature of Atma alone. This is the conclusion. The translation says, all the Upanishads exhaust themselves simply. Exhaust here means that's a conclusion. They conclude with that. Upakshaya, the word Upakshaya can mean exhaust also. Here exhausting means there is nothing more to say. This is the final thing to say. In that sense, the word exhaust in the translation, exhaust themselves. Usually when exhausted means tired and then can't do anything more. Okay, that's all tired. I'm exhausted. I can't do anything more. It's not used in that sense. Better than exhaust. No? Conclude. They come to conclusion. They come to this. They conclude themselves. Conclude by presenting the true nature of Atma alone. This is what the Upanishad talk about. Not only Īśāvāsya, every other Upanishad talks about the same thing. Īśāvāsya also is Upanishad, and all Upanishads talk about Atma Yathatmya. Īśāvāsya also talks about Atma Yathatmya, true nature of Atma, and that Atma Swarupa is not Karta Bhokta, Akarta Bhokta, and therefore this cannot be part of any karma. Alright, not only Upanishad Tatparya is this, Bhashyakara points out that all other Prasthana, Prakaranas, and Vedanta Prakaranas, Vedanta text, and also even Smritis also, they talk about the same thing that he points out. Gita Nam Moksha Dharmanam Cha Evam Paratvam, the Tatparya, the commitment. Para is commitment. The commitment for even Gita also, Gita Nam, Gita Gata, Antargata Shloka Nam. The entire Gita also. Gitanam Bahuvachanam because of shloka. Gitayaha singular only. But then Bhashyakara says Gitanam means Gitagata Shlokanam, Adhyayanam, chapters and the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita is the commitment, the final teaching, the central teaching of Gita also is the same thing. Which also talks about the same thing. Nothing else. No, Gita talks about Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga as a means for this Atma Yathatmya only, preparing the individual, preparing the mind to receive the vision, the teaching, to understand, own the teaching, and then be the vision. Okay? Receive the vision, understand the vision, and then be the wisdom, be the vision. For that, Karma Yoga is necessary. Karma Yoga prepares a person, and therefore Karma Yoga is talked about. Karma Yoga is not the final Tatparya of Bhagavad Gita. Right? It's an Avantara Tatparya, Avantara intermediary step, intermediary necessary, intermediate goal it is to be a Karma Yogi. Tasmad Yogi Bhava Arjuna, Krishna says more than in one place. Krishna tells Arjuna, Yogi Bhava, be a Yogi Arjuna, become a Yogi, transform yourself, grow into a Yogi, he says. But then that is not the final teaching. Krishna tells also, Yudhyasva, okay, fight Arjuna, right? Fight, etc. He tells. Fighting is not the final goal of life. Definitely not anyone, much less of Arjuna. So, fight here, fighting the battle is Karma Yoga, as Krishna points out there. So, even though there are other Vishayas, other topics also, they are all Avantara Vishaya, not the Parama Tatparyam, not the final teaching, not the final vision. All the Avantara, the intermediary teaching, etc., intermediate teaching, intermediate steps, subserve to understand, to own the final vision. And therefore, Gitanam cha evam paratva. The commitment of Bhagavad Gita also is for unfolding the true nature of Atma Brahma. Not only Gita, Moksha Dharmanam cha, all the Shastras which are committed to Moksha, like even in the Mahabharata itself, there is a Shanti Parva is there, and then there's a Moksha Dharma Parva is there, talking about the true nature, the Moksha, discovering the essential fullness, freedom within. That is the Moksha. Ever free, ever pure within, ever fulfilled within. That's the nature of oneself, true nature, the higher nature of oneself is that. Then Moksha Dharma talks about this in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Mahabharata it is there. So, not only Gita, but also texts like Moksha Dharma Parva in the Mahabharata and other texts which are committed to Moksha also talk about the same thing. The vision is about Atma, which is Akarta, Abhokta only. In the Bhagavad Gita, we have, for instance, Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu Tishtantam Parameshwaram Vinashyatsu Avinashyantam Yaha Pashyati Saha Pashyati. There's a verse there. Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu Tishtantam Parameshwaram Vinashyatsu Avinashyantam Yaha Pashyati Saha Pashyati. That is one sloka. You can find the number of this. And then Avinashitu Tadvidhi Yena Sarvam Idam Tatam, etc. Okay. Veda Vinashinam Nityam Ya Enam Ajamavyayam Katam Sapurusha Partha Kam Ghate Hantikam. All in the second chapter we come across verses which very clearly talk about Atma's Avinashi, Avikari, etc. It talks about. And also in the Upanishads also, Atmanam Chet Vijaniyat Ayamasmi Iti Purusha in the Brihadaranyaka we see all these mantras. And in the Moksha Dharma Parva of Mahabharata, there is this verse, for instance, Eka eva hi bhutatma bhute bhute vyavastitaha ekada bahuda chaiva drishyate jala chandravat. Like in the jala, in water, we see the reflection of Chandra, the moon, we see. And then sometimes we see when the water is very, very clear, no ripples, no waves, still water, clear water. Then from one angle we look at, we see one reflection, we see. Suppose there are many vessels, we see many reflections. And if the water has ripples and waves, then the Chandra seems to wave, dance is there. Moon dance. The moon dance. Dance of the moon. Not moon dance we see. And then within one reflection, one vessel we see many reflections we see. Ekada, seen as one. Bahuda, seen as many also. Jala Chandravate. So too Atma is seen as, with reference to me, I see me, I am one. But then with reference to truth, with reference to all beings, Bahuda, seen as many also. This is the Mahabharata mention, is there. Anandagiri Acharya, who wrote a Tika on this Īśāvāsya Bhashyam also, he quotes these shlokas. I am reading from the Tika. Samam Sarvesha Bhuteshu Gita shloka, and also Eka Eva Bhutatma, etc. in the Mahabharata. So there is oneness of vision. Upanishad do not talk about many varying different things. They do not talk about. They talk about the same thing. Of course, they use different words. That's all. Using different words, different approaches, prakriya, etc. They talk about the same thing. In the Brahma Sutra, there is the fourth sutra, Tattu Samanvayat. What is talked about in all the Upanishads is Atma Brahma alone, Tattu, Tad Eva. Tu is Eva. That indeed alone is being talked, being said, being talked about. In all Upanishads, this is alone is being said as the final import, the final teaching, the core teaching. The essence of all the Upanishads is one, Samanvaya. There is oneness, there is uniformity, there is oneness of vision. You see, we have two eyes, but with two eyes, with the normal eyes, like normal eyesight, we see one object only. The two eyes should be seeing two objects. I see with this, I see one. With I close it, I see another one. So two eyes means two objects, two visions. No, it is one. Imagine, suppose we were to have 100 eyes, like some flies, etc. Some insects have hundreds of eyes, compound eyes they have. Suppose we are to have Sahasra Sirsha, Purusha, Sahasraksha. So 1,000 eyes suppose we are to have. Then we will have 1,000 visions. You know, oneness, unity of vision is there, right? So, like that, all the Upanishads have one vision. They are like different eyes, but then see the same thing. There is oneness of vision, unity of purport. The Tatparya is one. That is mentioned by the Vyasa Maharishi. Samanvaya, very important sutra. In fact, that settles everything. The whole vision of Vedanta is one and uniform, the same. There is a big Upanishad, there is a small Upanishad, right? Īśāvāsya, Kena, they are all small. Brihadaranyaka is big. The words are different. So, nevertheless, what is said is one and the same thing. Small or big, the same vision they have. And therefore, this is an indication of the Tatparya. What is said in the Upakrama, right? what is said in the Upasamhara in the beginning, what is talked about at the end, what is said, and they are one, then that is the same. That is the Tatparya. That is what is being said. So, by using the lingas, the Shad lingas, 6 indications to arrive at the Tatparya, we understand all the Upanishads talk about Atma only. No difference. Okay? Same thing. First day, what the Upanishad says, the last day also will say the same thing. In some places, some homes, they make the same thing for breakfast. Okay? Bangan, every day bangan. Eggplant for vegetable, every day. We have here also khichdi every day. Predictability, total predictability is there. You may not doubt what will be there. Like Brahman, unchangeless. Same thing you have. Okay. So in some homes, same breakfast there. You know, the suji is there. We make upama every day. Upama on Sundays, upama on Mondays, upama on Tuesdays, upama on Fridays also. Same thing. Any Upanishad you take Atma. Like upama is Atma. One friend of ours used to say that. What is it like upama, you say Atma. Talk something else, say something else. Sorry, there is nothing else to talk. This is the upma shop. Like that upma shop, only upma is available. This is Atma. Only Atma is available. Atma, nothing else as the final teaching. Parama Purushartha. And then the Upanishad still says, Yasmin Vijñāte Sarvamidam Vijñātam Bhavati. By knowing the truth of which, the truth of everything, the truth of oneself is all known. Right? There is no sense of unfulfillment anymore, which will cause, unfulfillment would cause to know something, to do something, to have something else, experience something else, etc. will be there. Born of unfulfillment, that will not be there. And therefore, Yena Vijñātena Sarvamidam Vijñātam Bhavati. Right? Yasmin Vijñāte Sarvamidam Vijñātam. Right? Mundaka talks about that. Even Chandogya also says something very similar. Uddalaka Aruni tells Shvetaketu in the Chandogya also. So by knowing the truth of it, the truth of everything is known. Like our knowing the truth of one pot as clay, and I know the truth of every object in the clay world. I know universe of clay. I know the truth, that is clay alone. So too, the truth of all the Upanishads, the vision is one. It's called Eka Vakyata also. Eka Vakyata. It's all one big sentence, that's all. One big sentence. And within that big sentence, there are smaller sentences, paragraphs, chapters, books, there are one big sentence. So all our Shastras are one big sentence. 18 Puranas, Mahabharata, Ramayana, Dharma Shastra, Veda, Vedanta, Prakarana, all are one big sentence. Since it is so big sentence, we have into smaller books, that's all. One Eka Vakyata is that. Samanvaya. Vyasa Maharshi says, Samanvaya. There is Samanvaya. There is oneness of vision among all the Upanishads. No Upanishad talks about anything else. No Upanishad talks of Atma as a Karta, as a Samsari. Therefore, Tasmat Atmanaha Anekatva Kartrutva. We should read it in one word. It is Anekatva Kartrutva Bhoktrutvavi Cha Ashuddhatva. This also I should read together. Ashuddhatva Papa Vidhatvavi cha upadaya lokabuddhisiddham karmani vihitani. Okay. What for karmas are mentioned in the Veda? Bhashyakara says there is a reason why karmas are vihita, enjoined. There is a reason, which we'll see. This he mentioned that vihitani, karmani vihitani. We will continue this tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om.